Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, a free site, bettingangle.us, a free site. Today is December the 8th, 2024. Let's talk about a very important fight that just happened in boxing. The full fight, it's one round, is in my favorites folder as I make this video. It's Lawrence Okolie's debut in the heavyweight division. But first, remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Now, let me just say, yesterday was a great day for us. Premium subscribers won on an underdog, mild underdog. Richardson Hitchens took Liam Parrow's title. I thought it was a mistake for Parrow to pick Hitchens as his opponent and to fight him in Puerto Rico, not in Australia. Right? So that fight delivered. But let's talk about the big fight of yesterday. Right? This fight delivered also, but this was a bit of a mismatch. It's Lawrence Okolie, the former cruiserweight, the former bridgerweight champion. Right? He's now at heavy. And he was fighting Hussein, Muhamed. Now, let me be diplomatic here. Right? Folks, this is a must-watch fight. Let me just say, if you're into jabs, particularly heavyweight jabs, yesterday was a great day. They had the Kubrat Pulev, who has one of the division's best jabs, fight against Manuel Char. Kubrat Pulev now has, I believe it's a WBA regular heavyweight title. Then, of course, you had Lawrence Okolie. He's going for the WBC silver heavyweight title. This is boxing. Don't even try to figure out the politics. How a guy in his first fight in a deep division, heavyweight, could actually be in line for the WBC silver has more to do with his connections. He's a Frank Warren fighter now, than with, let's say, earning the spot through beating other heavyweights. But the important thing here is what happened in the fight. Now, I criticized Jake Paul before the Mike Tyson fight for coming in 27 pounds heavier than his prior fight. Folks, here you have Lawrence Okolie coming in weighing over 260 pounds. Right, Lawrence Okolie is more than 30 pounds heavier than his last fight. More importantly, Okolie, who has one of boxing's best jabs, and who has a right hand behind it that's a one-punch knockout type punch. In other words, we don't view Okolie as a heavy puncher. That's who he is. Right? Lucas Rosansky did not make it out of the early rounds. Right here, Hussein Muhamed doesn't make it out of the first round. So just understand the tools which place him toward the front of the line skill-wise at heavyweight. Right? Again, I'm not saying he earned the WBC silver title shot, but what I am saying is skill-wise, he's toward the front of the line. So here, you're looking at this fight. There are a few questions. Since Okolie was on the canvas multiple times against Chris Billum-Smith, there was the thought on Okolie's punch resistance. Right? This is a cruiser coming up to heavyweight after a brief one-fight title stop at bridgerweight. Could he take a heavyweight's punch? We still don't know the answer to that question. Right? The other question was, could he handle the weight? Because Okolie, a thin guy, had some speed, had some quickness at cruiser. The question is, would he have the quickness at heavy? Now, I'll just say this, folks. He comes out, I want you to look at his feet. He's bouncing. He's bouncing. Now, I consider his jab to be a stationary jab. I get the feeling he's going to try to show us that at heavyweight, it's actually a mobile jab. That the opposition is slower, which allows him to push the envelope more. But he's bouncing when he comes out. Let me just say, folks, the knockout in this fight is a eye-opener. Understand, Okolie has a back foot. The way the knockout comes about, and Okolie is throwing a jab, and he wisely throws some jabs to Hussein's body. Right? Hussein got stopped by Kabayuski off body shots. That was his only loss going into this fight. So you notice Okolie early, right? The fight doesn't make it out of the first round. Early, Okolie is attentive to throwing body shots. You notice the Okolie jab is crisp. Again, it's one of the best in the heavyweight division. You notice that Okolie is the person dictating distance. Now, there's another guy who can dictate distance. Mentioned him earlier, Richardson Hitchens. Right? The guys who can use length, the guys who are long, the guys who can dictate distance, can deprive a counterpuncher of their ability to counterpunch because they'll be too far away to get hit with counters. Well, just understand the beauty of the knockdown here. It's one of the best of the year, folks. After Okolie establishes spacing, right, and he's operating from distance, he's outside, you'll notice he's able to effortlessly just lower his head. He's not exposed. His head's not up high while he's throwing his jab to the body. He has his head low on an angle. Everything's pre-planned. So Hussein decides to go for it, right? Because Okolie's too far away to just engage. Okolie's denying the formation of a constant pocket. So Muhamed comes forward and throws 2 punches. Folks, this takes skill. As Muhamed moves forward, Okolie moves backward. This is not the slugger who can't move. And understand, he's in a big, clunky, heavyweight division where, in my opinion, Okolie has a lot more coordination than most of the guys at heavy, and it's a deep division. As Muhamed throws 2 punches and Okolie moves back, Okolie then steps forward. Right? In other words, it's a back foot, then he steps forward. And what does he have ready? His straight right hand. I told you it's a one-punch knockout type of hand. He lowers the boom on Hussein Muhamed. Muhamed hits the canvas hard. Now let me say this. I'm a child of the 70s. Right? In the 70s, we would not have understood this stoppage. Right? I want people to go back and look at the Foreman-Ken Norton fight. Right? Ken Norton is in all kinds of trouble. The ref doesn't blink. The ref gives him the opportunity to stand up. As long as he gets up on the count of 10, even against a fearsome puncher like George Foreman in the early rounds, right? No one's tired. That fight continues. Now contrast that to 2024 in the United Kingdom, in Wembley, right? Hussein Muhamed has been hit, has been dropped hard. He gets off the canvas. He doesn't look 100%. But folks, it's the first round, right? Hussein Muhamed's 100%. He's not woozy before he gets dropped. This isn't a fight where you see him and you're thinking, oh my God, he's in bad trouble. Then by the time he gets dropped, you think he's overmatched. No, this is a fight where he's 100%. He gets dropped. Okay, he gets up. Maybe he's 40% after he gets up. But folks, it's the first round. Doesn't boxing have a component? In fact, shouldn't boxing have a component? Even against a guy with an excellent straight right hand. By the way, this is the same straight right hand that took out Lucas Rosansky. Right? Even against a guy with a great straight right hand, don't we allow guys to actually try to survive the last minute of a round? You know, all I can say is Daniel Dubois is a heavyweight champion right now. Folks, he got knocked down 3 times by Kevin Lorena. Right? We've seen guys dazed and confused come back in fights. I saw a fight once where Nigel Benn against Gerald McClellan, it was a great fight. Tragic ending, but great fight. Nigel Benn gets knocked out of the ring. I'm not kidding. Beats the count. Gets back in the ring. Wins the fight. Right? Jack Dempsey, Louis Firpo. Dempsey knocked out of the ring. Climbs back in the ring. Beats the count. Wins the fight. Here, Hussein Muhamed is in the ring. He gets dropped hard. He gets up. He is a little bit woozy. Folks, he's fighting a guy who's in his first heavyweight fight. Right? He's not fighting a guy who should be given the benefit of the doubt of being a puncher like a Dubois or an Anthony Joshua or a Zhilei Zhang. Well, because I'm an OG, an old gangster, original gangster, whatever you want to call it, because I'm an OG, I didn't like the stoppage. Not that I think Hussein Muhamed was going to win the fight or had a chance to get back in the fight. In fact, I predicted Okolie by stoppage. But let's just say it would have been nice, since people paid money to come to the match, to give Hussein more of an opportunity to win the fight. Okay, he got caught. He got dropped by a fighter with more skills. No question about it. He should have had the opportunity to try to make it out of the first round. Right? That's all I'm saying. But let's just say, look at the sequence. Very few at heavyweight could pull that off. Right? Okolie, back foot. In other words, he has the back foot on demand. Then when he comes forward, he's completely coordinated. He understands he has an opening. This is a free play. Right? It's a first round stoppage off a counter straight right hand. You don't see that every day. Right? Okolie comes in, has it ready, lowers the boom. In other words, Okolie backs out of the pocket, then re-enters the pocket, while the other guy, after throwing 2 punches that miss, is still overextended. And then Okolie lowers the boom with the straight right. That ends the fight. A+. Heavyweight division is on notice. Let me just say, we have been in a big guy, big clunky heavyweight era. Right? How tall is Joshua? How tall is Wilder? Right? You have several guys. How tall is Okolie? We've been prioritizing power. How tall is Zhilei Zhang? We've been prioritizing power. And, the ability to knock out guys. We haven't been prioritizing coordination, dexterity, back foot. Right? Now, I will say some of these big men, I mentioned Zhilei Zhang, he's actually very coordinated. Right? Tyson Fury, at least as of a few years ago, could get up on his toes and could actually dance for several rounds. Right? But just understand, you have a guy here, bigger than Usyk, who can dictate distance. Right? He can dictate distance. And he has a great straight right. We saw that here, first round KO. and he has one of the best jabs in boxing, and behind the scenes, he sparred with many of the players. He's also going for his third belt, right? This is a guy who, cruiserweight champion, bridgerweight champion. If he gets a heavyweight title, folks, he's a Hall of Famer, right? 3 heaviest divisions. I know people are going to argue, well, Usyk was a cruiser, the lightest division, jumped to heavy, bridgerweight is still in its infancy, right? That's true. Usyk, no doubt, is a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's unbeaten as I make this video, right? But just understand, no one has pulled off the trilogy of cruiser, bridgerweight, and heavyweight. Lawrence Okolie is threatening to do that right now. And understand, cruiserweights are more elusive than heavyweights. We're also coming out of a great cruiserweight era where you had people like Maris Briedis, Murat Gassiev, of course Usyk, Glowacki, who Okolie beat. You had some major cruiserweights, right? Obviously, Usyk moved into the heavyweight division and was able to excel. What Okolie's going to find is that he's going to be leaving the fast lane where you don't have time to think. And he's now in a division where he will have time to think, but the risks are greater. Right? You know, if a Zhili Zhang lands a shot on you, that might be the end of the fight. You know, the point, though, is the hand speed levels. I would say at cruiser, were faster than they are right now at heavy. This isn't a combination back foot Ali Holmes era. No, we're in a different era now, right? We're in a big guy era. Understand, given that it's a big guy era, Okolie, who should have jumped to heavyweight years ago, is going to find that the game is slowing down for him. There's certain things he might not have been able to think about at cruiser that he might be able to do at heavy. Like perhaps throw a mobile jab, move a little bit more, lure these bulls in, and then play the role of matador. Right? But one thing is certain. His straight right hand, if it lands flush, you're going to go down. We saw that here. We saw that in the Rosansky fight. Let me make one other point, too. We all have different personalities, right? Okolie is one of the rare people, and I know this fight was in Wembley, but he's one of the rare people who does not need the crowd with him when he's in the ring, right? He just does not. This is an Azuma Nelson. I'm mentioning a Hall of Famer who preferred fighting on the road. This is an Azuma Nelson personality, right? Okolie beat Rosansky in Poland. Just food for thought, right? You were looking at that telecast, and you could count the Okolie fans you saw on one hand, right? This is a dangerous individual. I get the feeling he could travel to the U.S., and he's not going to be caught up in the moment. Right? I don't think every heavyweight is like that. Right? Andy Ruiz beat AJ in the United States. That fight's disturbing because AJ, heavyweight champion, is, not as responsive to the referee as you would have hoped. He's looking at his corner. You get the feeling he would have carried himself differently if that fight was at Wembley. With Lawrence Okolie, this is the guy who does not expect the crowd to be on his side. Right? So what you have here is a professional hitman, basically. right? He's not trying to be popular. He's just trying to be effective. And he has the skills, right? Let's keep an eye on him. I think he's a major threat to the throne. I think the division's deep, but there are very few guys who I call a major threat to the throne. Fans here disagree with me. I'm still going with the heir apparent, Philippe Ergovic. Zhili Zhang is a major threat to the heavyweight title, whoever has that belt. I think Lawrence Okolie is as well. He's a WBC silver. Sooner or later, they're going to have to give him a shot at the title. Right? I'm just telling you, this is a dangerous man. He's not going to be overwhelmed, even if he's fighting an Alexander Usyk. Those are my thoughts. Let me hear yours in the comment section of this YouTube video. Understand, too, an Okolie-Usyk fight would be a fight between two of the better cruiserweight champions of recent times. And, of course, it would be for the heavyweight title. Such is life in boxing. I look forward to your comments. Thanks for stopping by.